Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Everything Horror. I am your host, Tessa Baker, and I am joined by my co-host,
Paul Dosky.
And this episode is definitely for
the drinking age.
Those of the drinking age. We are going to talk about Halloween-themed wine tonight. And
we're going to be talking maybe a little bit about one beer for Halloween.
Yep, and we'll talk about... So pretty much this episode, we're going to be talking about alcohol.
So I hope you're going to enjoy this, because we already are, because we're already drinking.
Yep, we are sampling...
So cheers, everybody.
Yep, cheers.
Let's try that again.
Let's try it again.
There we go. That's better. Got to make that king.
Well, I didn't want to break your glass.
We ain't breaking anything.
Okay, so some of our selections that we are going to be talking about tonight are Witch's Brew and Halloween. And these are from Wisconsin from Door Peninsula Winery. And then we are going to talk about the infamous vampire wine,
which is from the Vampire Vineyards in California.
And then we are also going to talk about werewolf.
Which, it's a white wine bottle from product of Romania, Transylvania. And it's imported by Trivine Imports from New York.
Yeah, Varon, New York. So, yeah. So, I am drinking Witch's Brew from Door Peninsula Winery from Wisconsin.
It is 12% alcohol.
It is a semi-dry wine with a grape and plum and strawberry infusion. So it's actually not bad. It's actually really...
Three type of wines, I'm very impressed for red wine. Because usually you don't really want to mix too much red wine together. Isn't that right?
That is right. I'm also going to read the back of the label for this one.
For which one?
Witch's Brew.
Okay.
It says, fall is mesmerizing, almost unearthly time in Wisconsin's Door Peninsula. In the narrow, torch-lit ancient limestone caverns that lie beneath the award-winning Door Peninsula Winery, an unforgettable seasonal potion is brewing, Witch's Brew. In this expertly crafted semi-dry red, DPW blends Syrah and fruit wines to capture the fresh, natural, wickedly delightful flavors of Door County at Fall's End. Happy Halloween. So I quite enjoy this wine. Paul picked this wine out, and then he also picked out Halloween for him to try for himself. And how about you talk about this one, babe?
Alright, well, Halloween is very interesting already. You got the orangest bottle with bats and witches and apples and pumpkins and a scary cat on the bottle. And for Halloween, it is best enjoyed with served warm. It is 11% alcohol, so that's 1% less than the Witch's Brew. But Halloween sounds so good at the time that I just had to try it. And it's, oh my God, delicious. Might become one of my all-time favorite wines ever, just because it is a semi-sweet apple wine spiced with cinnamon and nutmeg.
Ooh.
And on the back, we got a little story called The Legend of Halloween. In 1665, Mr. Howell brought this unique blend of fall harvest apples and mulled spices to ferment in the crisp Door County air. He dubbed his creation Halloween, then mysteriously disappeared. 334 years later, Door Winery honors Hollow's legacy, conjuring up the autumn flavor of the region for a limited time. One sip, and we are sure you'll all agree. It's so good, it's scary.
I actually got to try a little bit of the Hollow wine, and I thought it was very good from what I did taste. Surprisingly very smooth and quite dangerous.
Yes, very quite dangerous because it doesn't really taste like alcohol. It almost it just
It's
tastes
almost like a
cider, like an apple cider, really, like an apple cider with cinnamon per se, because you can definitely taste that cinnamon. And I mean, I took one sip of it the first time, and I'm just like, this is dangerous, and it's so good. But for those that like to collect bottles, these two wines right here, Witch's Brew and Hollow Wine, would definitely be for you.
Yeah, we plan on keeping our bottles because they're just so cool looking.
That we just had to add them to our wine collection.
Yeah, I'll probably stuff some lights in them and make them into, like, lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Let's talk about Werewolf.
Alright, well, let's talk about it. We got 13% alcohol volume this time. It is a white wine that we got. What type of wine is it?
It's a Chardonnay.
Yeah. So,
but it comes in many other flavors besides of Chardonnay. They do have a red variety, as well as the Chardonnay white. There is a red wine for it. I haven't been able to find one in years, but we were lucky enough to at least find a Chardonnay white wine when we were visiting New York recently. So
yeah, we found it back in beginning of September, actually.
Yes.
And it was on sale for $6, so there was no way in hell I was going to pass that deal up.
Nope, not bad for a bottle of werewolf wine at all.
No. And let's take a sip right now. For a white wine, it's actually pretty smooth. And not as bitter as most people would probably think it is, but it's actually got a nice little taste to it, surprisingly. There's also a story thing on the back of Werewolf bottle. And what does that say?
Werewolves are easy to spot as they have several common characteristics. Red hair, eyebrows that join in the middle, index and middle fingers that are the same length, love of rare or raw meat, hairs on the palms of the hands, and hair on the inside of the skin, a tough one to check. For a howling good time, even without a full moon, this wine may put hair on your palms.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Well, I don't see any hair yet on my palm, so I must be good. I mean, I don't know, you look like you might have some.
Oh, so I'm a werewolf now, huh?
Yep.
You never know. I could be.
Whoa. And who knows, I could just be a vampire. I'm 1,000 years old.
Yeah, who knows? Speaking of vampires...
That's right.
Let's talk about the infamous vampire wine.
Okay, well, if we're going to talk about it, I need to at least say, the first time I've heard of this wine was back in 2008, I want to say. It was really weird because normally vampire wine isn't around this area, and we're from Vermont, so we don't really get to see vampire wine, but surprisingly, in 2008, we actually had vampire wine be the seasonal wine of the year kind of thing for October, and so we could actually find it, and at the time I couldn't find anything but Merlot. Which, for those of you who know, Merlot is pretty bitter and pretty sweet. And
Merlot is definitely not my favorite.
It's not mine either.
Oh,
If
no.
I had to pick a red wine for vampire, it would be Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
That bottle would be gone by a weekend. So, and I've already proven it to myself that it would be gone in a weekend. But what does it say on the back?
It says the GR. But first on earth is vampire scent. Thy corpse shall fall from its tomb be rent. Thy ghastly haunt thy native place, and suck the blood of all thy race. There from thy daughter, sister, wife, at midnight drain the stream of life. Yet loathe the banquet which perforce must feed thy livid living corpse. Thy victims are they yet expire, shall know the demon for their sire. As cursing thee, thou cursing them, thy flowers are withered on the stem. Lord Byron, 1813. Very good poet.
Exactly.
He's actually one of my favorites. I actually have
Lord Byron?
his, yep, Lord Byron. I actually have a book of his works.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with vampire wine anyway, but from what I've drank from vampire wine, I've even tried their white wine too, and I still have to go with either Pinot Noir or Vampire Red, which I don't know if you even gotten a chance to try that yet.
The Vampire Red, yes I have.
Yes,
Remember
you did.
you had me try it once and I was like,
Oh yeah, that's yes. We forgot to drink the bottle that I have for my birthday, but that's okay. We'll make it up.
Yeah, we can drink it this
Halloween
weekend.
or something.
Or Halloween, yep.
Which vampire wine is 13.5% alcohol. Vampire Red, I kind of forget what the percentage of that is, but I know Pinot Noir Vampire, I believe, is like 12%. And my original bottle of Merlot is even up there too, but I can't remember for sure. You definitely know, let's see. You definitely know that Vampire had changed from 2008 to now anyway. Because if you look at like a 2008 bottle and a 2013 bottle of Merlot, it's definitely different. And I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why vampire wine isn't even here in Vermont. Because that shit would always be off the shelf just by me buying it.
Stock up.
I would stock up on Pinot Noir. I mean, geez, But, what do you think of vampire wine? Especially now that they came out with like vampire coffins now with your wine, and now vampire capes.
I think it's kind of neat how they can box your wine up in a coffin-shaped box. The vampire capes are kind of comical, I think. They're kind of funny. But I think it's a neat idea that they can box your wine up in a coffin-shaped box, considering it's called vampire wine. I've had the Pinot Noir of the Vampire and the Vampire Red. And I actually like both of them. I'm not a Merlot person, so I really don't drink Merlot wine, but I did like the Red and the Pinot Noir of the Vampire. I used to be a fruity wine kind of person, but I've kind of grown into a semi-dry wine connoisseur. So another wine that we are going to talk about is called Seven Moons, and it is a red blend, and it's from California, and it's a 2015 aged bottle. The alcohol content in this wine is 13.5% volume. Seven Moons Red Blend celebrates the phases of the moon by combining 7 grape varietals into a smooth, fruity, easy-to-drink wine. Uncork the bottle, pour a glass, and find connection in the moonlight. The 7 wines that they put in this is a Syrah, a Merlot, a Petite Syrah, a Zinfandel, a Cabernet, a Sauvignon, Malbec, and a Grenache. And it's actually pretty damn good. Paul and I pretty much drank this, whole bottle.
Within, a weekend.
Within, a weekend. Going back to Vampire, Vampire Red. Yeah, the Vampire Red. It's a 2014. And it's another 13.5 alcohol content. It's a California red wine. Since 1988, we've been making our wines available to the outside world, and we must say that this cuvee is one of our favorites of all time. Made from a delicious blend of mystical grapes, this blend of flavors creates a vampiric delight that will keep you longing forevermore. And if anybody is interested in, I would say, acquiring a bottle, you can visit the site at vampire.com. Seven Moons, we found Seven Moons in Price Chopper.
For $10.
For $10. Not bad for $10. Werewolf, we found in Monahan's in Glens Falls, New York. And Witch's Brew and Hallowine, Paul had ordered online, I believe. Where did you get the Hallowine and the Witch's Brew from online?
Online.
Yeah? Do you remember where you got it from or no?
Yeah, the Door.
The Door Peninsula Winery. So it would be www.dcwine.com for both the Hallowine and the Witch's Brew.
Yep.
What was the beer that you wanted to talk about?
Samuel Adams Oktoberfest. We can't forget about that.
Oh, yes. We cannot forget about Samuel Adams Oktoberfest. The beer that, as soon as it goes into style, you have to have.
Yep, because otherwise it just isn't an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Waka waka. No, but I mean, I never really tried Oktoberfest until one night at where was it? Applebee's, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is actually really good.
Oh, was it when I was on the date with you and your mom?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yep, it was when we were all on a double date, I guess. You, me, with my mom and her boyfriend, and our upstairs tenant's son.
But anyways.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we can all agree that once Oktoberfest from Samuel Adams comes out, you just need to pile up your fridge because that shit is good.
Yeah, speaking of which, we probably should order more Hallowine.
Yeah, because of that fucking wine stopper.
So there was a little bit of an incident yesterday morning. Upon getting up in the morning and getting ready to make breakfast for Paul and I had discovered Paul's Wolf wine stopper in the sink. Now, I clearly remember putting the wine stopper on the bottle of hollow wine, which we had opened.
Yep, and I remember you putting it on the table, and I took it from the table and put it on our wine rack.
And it was corked with the wine stopper. So
yes.
I discovered the wine stopper in the sink, and I had looked up at the shelf, and I had noticed that the bottle had spilled
almost all the wine from hollow wine, and I was pissed.
Oh, he was so furious because he had maybe
just one glass.
One glass out of that bottle, and I had a swig. And there's pretty much maybe a quarter left in the bottle.
Yeah.
If not even left in the bottle.
Thanks a lot, Wolf Stopper wine thing.
Wine stopper, yeah. So now we have a totally different wine stopper on our bottle.
Sugar skull.
Yep, sugar skull. So Paul's going to have to order more of his hollow wine because he didn't really get to enjoy it.
Nope.
So he'll have to get more of it. But we hope that you enjoyed our selections of talking about our Halloween-themed drinks.
Yeah, and for those of you that may know where the hell I can actually shop online for the werewolf wine, please drop a comment, because there's absolutely no website on the werewolf bottle that we have. So, please help me out by trying to figure out where the hell I can get this werewolf wine from.
Instead of waiting for Halloween season to come around.
Or September or whatever, because that's pretty much when we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to wonder if we need to probably look around August.
Yeah, maybe.
But yes, like Tessa said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this little short episode of a wine tasting. And somewhat beer tasting.
And we got to talk about some of our favorite alcoholic beverages that we like for the season.
Well, actually, before we call it, if you had to rate the bottles, which one would be your favorite to your least favorite?
Favorite to my least favorite?
Yep.
Ooh. Well...
Yep, that's right, I went there.
Based on what's sitting in front of us right now?
Yes.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Merlot, of any kind of wine, so Vampire Merlot will have to be my least favorite in this lineup. And then Werewolf Chardonnay, then Seven Moons, then Hollow Wine, then Witch's Brew. But if I were to put Vampire Red into the mix, Vampire Red would go at the top.
Vampire Red would be at the top?
Yeah, and then Witch's Brew, and then Hollow Wine, and then Seven Moons, and then Werewolf, and then Vampire Merlot.
Okay, mine would be Hollow Wine, Vampire Red, Seven Moons, Witch's Brew, Werewolf, and Vampire Merlot, I think, would be mine. Yeah, that sounds like a good lineup. Anyway, guys, yeah. Hope you enjoyed the wine tasting episode, because I know we did, because we're drinking it. But don't forget, you can always get some yourself, and then you can judge it for yourself.
And you can let us know what your favorite is.
That's right. And then just maybe, the haunting will come to you.
With that being said,
stay scary!